Alright, so somebody asked me in the comments in that Spider-Man video that I did, should be right before this video, and they asked me, if Mezco ever goes up to 150 bucks, are you still going to buy them? And my thoughts instantly were like, hell no, no way am I going to spend that kind of money on an action figure. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here looking at a $200 Mezco action figure. And I have to admit, they showed this figure like 3 years ago, and I was like, yeah, I need to get that on my shelf, thinking it might be like $90 or something. It might be $100, maybe, because he's bigger. And then they're like, hey, we're going to make him out of polystone, which is like the stupidest thing you could ever do. It's basically like he's made out of ceramic, he's heavier, and he'll break easier than plastic. So let's make him out of polystone, and instead of charging like $125 like we did for the Hulk, let's charge $180, and we'll justify it by saying that he's polystone, because the light up feature, they've already did light up features before, and to me a light up feature is worth like an additional $10. That's about it. If you can't do a light up feature for additional $10, just don't even do it. Like, don't charge me an extra $80 for a light up feature. So they're basically trying to justify the additional expense because of the polystone, which me personally, I would rather have him be plastic and you charge me $125 instead of $180, because after you get this thing home, after tax, shipping, however you had to do it, he's $200. So now we're spending $200 on a Mezco action figure. So to answer your question, yes, I did. I'm not happy about it. And then I'm looking through my collection, and I'm actually thinking that this is the most I've ever spent on an action figure ever. Like, I try not to ever buy figures on like eBay. If I miss it, I miss it. I don't support the secondary market. I try to keep my spending as low as possible, which is already extremely high. Yes, there's been those situations where I've spent more, like on vehicles, and if I ever get that Comic Cave Hulkbuster Iron Man, that was obviously more. I'm not real happy about that price either. But these action figures, it seems like they're good. I feel like the bubble is gonna pop at some point. Like, how much can they charge us? Like, because we still got bills and house payments and rent and utilities, car payments. I don't know your situation, but I know mine, and I got a lot of bills. And if you look at companies like SH Figure Arts and Mayfex and Mezco also, like if you look at eBay, a lot of these figures are going down in value and not up in value, just like pretty much your whole action figure collection is going down in value, because they just keep remaking the same stuff over and over and over, and it just keeps getting better and better and better. So I don't know, man. It's tough. Spending $200 on an action figure definitely makes me think about things like real world things. Is he awesome? Is he an amazing action figure? Yes, absolutely. I wasn't going to get him when I found out that he was $180. And then I saw a picture with a cape on him, and I go, man, I got a lot of Darkseids, which I'm going to pull out in the video. Out of all the Darkseids I have, I don't have one with a cape on it. So that's how I justified $180, which in reality was a $200 action figure. Let's check him out. Alright, so I went ahead and pulled out the Darkseid collection for a couple reasons. One, mostly just where you can check it out if you're not fortunate enough to have all these Darkseids. And two, the big part, mostly if you're getting into action figures or you're trying to figure out which Darkseid you should get, for you don't end up with 10 Darkseids like I did, and, you know, save a lot of money in the process. Basically, he's in two different costumes. He's in his classic costume, which is kind of like right here, front and center. This is kind of his classic costume. This is Mezco's version of his classic costume, which I actually really like. And then over here, the big one over here, this is kind of like his more modern costume. So if you needed to get a Darkseid in your collection, maybe get one of these in the modern costume and one of them in the classic costume. I will go through some of these because I don't know if I ever have before. I've showed you my Darkseid collection. I don't think I've actually ever showed you the figures. This was my favorite classic version of him right here. I thought they did a great job. He's got his little Infinity Gauntlet on there, at least DC's version of the Infinity Gauntlet. And like the Mezco figure, his little mother box does fit on his belt, which I think that this action figure is great. So if you don't feel like spending $180, I'm sorry, $200 on a Mezco action figure, then this would be a good solution for you if you want to get him in the classic costume. I think this is an amazing toy. They did a great job. It's a DC Direct did this. I don't know what he's going for on eBay. I'm sure he's not too cheap, but maybe like, I don't know. I don't even want to guess. I hate to guess, and he's like crazy expensive. But there's this one. He was my favorite. And then also in the classic version, you have this one, which I used to like this one until I got the one that I just showed you. And now I really don't care for it. He also has Infinity Gauntlet on, or the DC version of that. I don't really like that figure much. He's kind of on the back of the shelf. And then you have another classic version, which I thought that this one, I'm pretty sure this was like the Mattel version of it. He doesn't have a little thing. The mother box won't fit on his belt. He does hold it. I'm glad that he comes with it. This I thought was done really well. A good action figure. This would probably be a cheaper alternative for your Darkseid. And then you have another classic one back here. This one actually has light up eyes. The batteries are dead. You can push the button and the eyes used to light up. I thought he was great at the time. If you want one with light up eyes and you don't want to spend $200 on it, then this also might be an option. And then you have this big weird one in the back. I can't remember why he looks different. He is a good action figure. I don't particularly like the style of this. The eyes are like almost kind of like a black red or something. He's cool. He's definitely not my favorite. I'm glad that I got him. I don't know what really wants to say about that one. And then you have him in his other costume out here. This is like the little one. I don't really care for this thing at all. He's just way too small. When you got the other big ones, this thing's kind of like, oh, why did I even get this? Like, because I don't know. He's definitely not one of my favorites. And then you have the DC Icons one over here, which I'll just kind of do this over here, considering how big he is. This is the DC Icons one. I can't remember how much it cost. He was either like $60 or $80 in a 2-pack. He's just an amazing action figure. I love that thing to death. Is he my favorite? No, actually the DC Collectibles one was. I'm pretty sure he was $80. And this is the reason why I miss DC Collectibles. It seems like they just don't care about action figures anymore. And yeah, they were hit and miss. But when they did stuff like this, I remember when this thing was like $80 and we were like freaking out, just going, oh my God, it's $80. It's $80. Like, it's amazing. Yeah, of course it's amazing, but it's $80. And we were freaking out that thing was $80. So a lot of people that wanted to get this didn't get it because it was $80. And now in today's age, you're sitting here looking at $200, which is just crazy. I'm going to go ahead and put him back on the board for you can see how tall he is. He's about 7.5 inches tall. I wish that he was a little bit bigger, but I'm also sure that my wife wishes was something. All right, so I pulled out the Mezco Superman for you can see him side by side. See the scale for yourself. See if this is something you feel like investing into, because it's a really big investment. $200. I don't know what that Superman's going for these days. He's Superman, so I'm sure that he probably went up in value. And that's basically the only version of a classic Superman that you really have to choose from as far as Mezco does. If you don't want to get a Mezco Superman, well, then you got about 100 other options that are, most of them are actually pretty good, that you could choose from. So there he is side by side. We'll go ahead and take a quick look at this Darkseid. First off, we'll go over accessories. He comes with all these different heads. This one has a mega beam shitting out of it, which they don't really light up very well. I will turn off the lights and show you that. The reason why I don't think that they light up very well is because on all these other heads, they put like that red plate inside of it. And I think that attracts the light more than this. So he's got two extremely crazy bright LED lights in his head for the lights. And I think that little extra piece draws the light in because it actually lights up really well. like this. And then if you look at the Mega Beams where they could have used something like that back plate more than any of these, then they couldn't do it. I think they couldn't do it because these things all plug in from the back and these plug in from the front. And if you look at that, there's just barely anything in there. Let me try to get a little bit better light on it. For the light to attract to, it's just a tiny little pinhole, and that's why I'm thinking that the Mega Beams aren't nearly as bright as it is without the Mega Beams. And then, so on this head sculpt, these things, these head sculpts, these masks, are kind of like a really soft plastic, almost kind of rubbery, like if you flex them, because they just flex and they go right in there. So they did this instead of giving you a whole new head. They did this because the head has a battery thing. So if they gave you different heads, then that would really get expensive. You thought $200 was a lot. God, could you imagine if they gave you 4 different actual heads that light up? Well, then it would be crazy expensive. He also comes with fisted hands, which I'm not going to use, but they did a really good job. He also comes with like a grabby hand, which, I don't know, that kind of looks like the, like, you know, like a powerful, you know, like, I don't know, I don't want to embarrass myself too much. He comes with a little peg, the best stand in the business. I love these stands, although he's so freaking heavy, I don't really think that this stand would hold him. Yes, you can tighten up the screws, but in time it would sag, and do you really want a $200 action figure falling off your shelf and hitting the ground? I know I don't, especially because he's polystone, so I'm not real sure how it would work out. So I don't think I'll be using that stand. I might set him flat on his feet and then lock him to the stand. The cape, I'm going to show you the cape. I'm a little disappointed in the cape, and the cape is the whole reason why I bought this action figure, is because out of all those Darkseids that I don't have a Darkseid with the cape. And the cape is like, it's like this thick, like, pleather. Let me go. It just lifts on and off. There's no magnet, no clip, no nothing, which is fine. That doesn't really bother me. It's just like some cheap, like, pleather or something, at least where the blue, the screen printed is. So the material is really thick and heavy, which you think would be good, but in this case I think that it's bad. I like the screen printing on it, but the screen printing is just not working because it makes the cape so stiff. And then this thing here is like, they're saying cast metal. Let's be real, it's just pot metal. It's basically the cheapest metal in the world, but they say it's like die cast, which that's like cheaper than steel. It's basically the garbage of the metal world, which is cool. It works out good for action figures. It's also a very delicate metal, and it will break very easily if you drop it. There's a good chance that the metal part would even crack because it's basically pot metal. So you just slide this thing on him, and here's what I don't like about it, because if you want to pick his arm up in that power move, then the cape is so stiff, it just kind of, it doesn't really work. You can't really pick his arms up. So now you have this cape, and it looks kind of stupid like this. This cape would have been perfect if they would have put wire in it, because then you could kind of like bend it up here, bend it around the arm, bend it however you want it, and then it would work, you know, kind of like a $200 action figure. We'll go ahead and take this off, which I will put it back on when I display him, considering that stupid case cost me $200. The head pops up off, and then it's got the little on and off switch right here. The mask is like, or the face is like this rubber. It comes right out. No big deal. It actually has a magnet in it that clips in there. And those things, they are crazy bright. Like if you look at these things, they're unbelievably bright. They got 2 tiny little batteries in there, and I cannot believe how bright these things are. And this also has a plate on the back of it. You can stick this back in here. This is like my favorite one, the one where he has like the battle damage. You can see that that is just really, God, they did an amazing job on this toy. I'm not going to pretend like they didn't. I'll go ahead and change all these things out with the lights out for you can kind of see them going. Plug this back on. The head is like really, like it's really loose. There's not a lot of tension there, which is fine. It stays where you want it to stay, but it goes there with zero effort at all. And now you're sitting here looking at the biggest, baddest dude in the DC universe. And let's be real here, guys. The guy's outfit is a mini skirt, which is kind of weird. It's like that weird dude in Futurama. I should probably pull him out, but I don't want to do another cut in the video. If you look around here, this thing is also like metal. If you want to take that mother box out, which is, I don't know if this is the magnet or if that's the magnet. I'm going to assume that this is metal. and the magnet inside his belt, and it clips right back here, which is actually really cool. I love when they could have did a plug or something, and that's like a really strong magnet too. Like it really locks in there. That's cool, but if you got it back here, you put the cape on it, whatever, you can't even see it. So it's really cool that they did it, but it's a feature that pretty much nobody will ever use, because I'm sure that everybody's going to have that in the hand because you paid for it. I mean, just this thing here alone is probably like 25 bucks. And the action figure itself, the articulation is, I'm cool with it. I can see you guys that like to pose and take pictures and whatever could not be cool with it. The fabric on it is also like the pleather material, which I think that looks really good. They did an amazing job on that. As far as the articulation goes, the shoulders are on a ball, which actually works out pretty good. You can't get too much movement because of the cuff here on his little dress. And then you got a single elbow, which you don't really get anything out of that either. And there's no pin. See, for me, this is cool because I don't care about articulation that much. But for you guys that like to pose a lot, I can see you not being into that. The detail on the gloves is phenomenal. They did a great job. If you think it would turn here at the forearm, I can't get mine to move, so I don't think that it does. The hands are on a ball just like Mezco always does, but they're a little bit less articulation than normal because they're so big, which I'm cool with. If you pick up his belt, pick up his mini skirt, he's got his little Speedo on underneath. I tried to pick it up enough to see if there's actually detail on the figure. It just looks like gray. Maybe there could be a little rocky detail under there. I'm not real sure. It's cool that they did such a good job on the Speedo, though. I don't think that you could get that off, and I wouldn't dare try to get it off on a $200 action figure. But you can kind of see, like, here's like where the plastic ball joint is, and then it goes into the polystone leg, which that just is completely stupid to me. Just make the whole thing plastic and save us some money, because I'm not going to like walk my friends through my toy room and go, hey bro, come here, come check this out, you're not going to believe this. But you see this guy? He's actually polystone. And then your friend just looks at you like you're retarded and just like, dude, shut up, man. Like, nobody really cares what these things are made out of. We care what they look like, and we also care how much they cost. And then as far as the leg articulation goes, he just has a single knee, which is kind of stiff, and it's kind of scary moving considering how much you spent on that. Man, that thing is really stiff. This one moves a little bit better. Really stiff on that. That's probably because it's polystone. Like, when you got a $200 action figure, like, I know some of you guys do Hot Toys, which I can't afford, but a $200 action figure, God, you're almost afraid to touch this thing, let alone pose, display. What does it say on the box? Who knows? But inside of there is also painted, sculpted. It actually looks pretty good no matter where you move it, except for, like, right there, it's like an obvious joint there. And on that side, this side, it seems like they hit it a little bit better. Go ahead and straighten these up. The boots look great. The ankle movement is almost non-existent on this thing. I love how they sculpted the bottom of the feet. He's an amazing action figure. He's pretty much, I don't know, I think he's a perfect action figure. I'm just going to go out and say it. I don't really see how this thing could be any better. He's $200. Drop the polystone, because now I'm thinking, man, if they make a thing, are they going to make him out of polystone and charge us $200 for him also? That would suck. Just make them out of plastic. Make them look good, but make them as cheap as possible. Try to save us some money. I don't understand this. Yes, it's a collector thing. Yeah, I know we're trying to be like, hey, we're collectors. They're not toys. Well, give me a break. It's $200. I think that's a little ridiculous. Just check out this lineup. All right, so now I'm sitting in a room in the dark with a bunch of action figures. If my friends came over and saw this right now, God, that would be a great conversation. So here's what it looks like. You can see the light up feature with these laser beam things does not work, or the Mega Blast does not work very well. It comes out, shoots down the first run, and then that's pretty much completely it. It's really not that impressive, which this is probably how I'm gonna display them, because after this video I'll probably never even use this light up feature again. I'll go ahead and take this off, God, see, this is what look at that. That's just like, hold on, I got it. You gotta see this, because it's actually pretty cool. So there's his eyes with no mask on, or no face on. Like, that thing really lights up. Like, you could actually use this toy for like a flashlight in emergency situations. Because, God, that lights up really well without the faceplate on there. Let me go ahead and put a faceplate on there. I'm doing this in the dark, too, so. This is just your standard face. I'm right here, guys. I know you can't see me or see an action, but I'm right here. Here he is with the face on. Let me turn the light around for you and kind of see a little bit of him. This is the face that I use. You turn the light off of him. You can see that it lights up pretty good. And then if you shine the light down there, like, you get nothing. So those eyes, it's really restricted. Man, they went all out with the LED, and then it just didn't really work out for them. I'll go ahead and put the battle damage head on there because that's like one of my favorite heads, just where you can kind of see that. I can find it in the dark. Okay, here's the battle damage head. Let me turn the light away. Which, that thing, it lights up pretty good. It actually looks better with a little light on it. So here it is with the lights out. Sorry. I mean, I think it looks pretty good. It's having a hard time focusing in the dark. Either way, there's the light up feature. I think I kind of showed you everything. I haven't showed you the Mezco DC collection in a while. Let me get him over there, display him up in something cool, which I will display him with this Superman because you kind of have to, which sucks because the Superman comes with those really cool bullet effects. Those ricochet bullets effects, which I can no longer use because I'm going to display him with Darkseid. And then he also comes with this really cool chain thing. I don't know, like, I really want to use some of those accessories. I'll get them over there and we'll go from there. So I know I haven't showed you the Mezco collection shelf in a while. That's simply because they haven't been making a lot of DC. It seems like it's been a lot of Marvel, which is cool because I like Marvel a little bit better than DC. That is, unless they're making Darkseid. It just sucks that he's $200. So I'm going to walk you through it real quick. Still love that Shazam. Oh, God. Just, you always have to take a moment to pause on that. That's some of my best work right there. This is also some pretty good work. For a guy that doesn't post action figures at all, this is like the only shelf that I really do it on. I come in here, I look at this all the time, and I love it. Here's the Darkseid. I couldn't bring myself to taking those bullet effects and putting those back in the box because they're just too cool. Or the chain effects, so I do kind of have him battling. He just has a little extra battle damage on him. There's the Darkseid. He's a great figure. That's weird because you put that Mezco stand on him, it bulges the cape out. I guess I should probably turn that a little bit more like that. It does it on the Superman. I guess the best stand in the business really isn't that great after all because of when it just doesn't work when you have capes for some reason. Coming around, more Batmans, more Jokers, even more Batmans. Some guys were wondering how many of these they made. I don't know. I got 3 of them. I got that one, the battle damage in the 2-pack. Then I have the gray and black suit. Then I also have this one. So I know they make more, but enough is enough. I kind of felt like I took it to the limit on that. And then you have the best toy in my action figure collection, this Batmobile. Still love that thing. That thing is just pure awesomeness. I got that tactical suit Batman on the way. I'm probably going to put him in the car, take him off, put that Bruce Wayne head on him because I've been wanting to use that for quite some time. Coming around, you got more DC Justice League stuff. You have that Walker thing, which was weird, but it was cheap. It's only like 20, 30 bucks. And it's kind of nice to have a vehicle in your collection from time to time. There's that Aquaman coming around to some Flash and then the Sculpt Studio Reverse Flash. That's it. Thanks for watching.